What's up, everybody? This is Channel 727, and welcome to the show. This channel right here is your number one news source for transvestigations and much more. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. It is a pleasure and honor to be your main transvestigator. We will go ahead and continue to expose the dark forces of evil and let light shine on darkness. So yeah, before we get started today, let's go ahead and take a look at the question of the day. Alright, so the question of the day is, did the Monopoly Man ever have a monocle on their eye? Well, according to our current reality, the Monopoly Man never had a monocle on their eye. It's so strange because anyone that you ask that isn't aware of this foreign update, they will tell you that the Monopoly Man, in fact, did have a monocle on their eye. I know for a fact the Monopoly Man had a monocle on their eye. I remember playing board games as a kid. I remember the get out of free jail card or whatever. It had the Monopoly Man with a monocle on there. This is just another Mandela effect. And like I said in my previous video, this thing is real because it doesn't matter how old of a Monopoly board game you pull out of your attic and dust it off, you will not find the Monopoly Man with a monocle. The change will take place everywhere on everything, and the change changes all the way back to its original origin point, which is crazy. The conclusion here is, in our reality, we all remember the Monopoly Man had a monocle, but in this current reality, doesn't matter what Monopoly board game you pull out or card game, whatever, the Monopoly Man will not have a monocle on their eye. That was your question of the day. Now back to the show. And on this episode, we will be investigating Kristin Cavallari. Kristin Cavallari is an American TV personality, author, and fashion designer.
My kids filmed. So my kids are going to be on it a little bit, just obviously leading up to the tour. But, that was the one thing with Very Cavallari, that my kids are the biggest part of my life. And them not...
It absolutely disgusts me how these people lie. My children are the most important part of my life. That is an absolute lie. I guarantee you $500,000 that they are dressed as opposite genders, taking hormones. All of it is abusive. Now, not only you are using yourself as advertisement, you're using your children as advertisement. It's all about you, money, and Baphomet. Boom, checkmate. We put the male skull template layout on your face and it fits perfectly. You display a large triangle, not a small one. You have far set of eyes, wide cheekbones, just a wide face in general. You have a square jawline, short sloping forehead, and the further that we go on into this video, the more we are going to discover who you really are and who you've always been. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for skull and gate analysis, because our discernment game here is on fire. Woo! Alright, so check it out. Here we have Kristin Cavallari with the straight, long male legs. The knees are together. The feet on the bottom are separated from one another, causing that little space right there. See, if this was a female walking, then this foot would be behind this foot. There'd be a little crisscross action going on, like someone as if they are walking on a tightrope. Why is it that Kristin Cavallari's so-called little son is walking how Kristin Cavallari should be walking? So-called son should be walking like them. See, this is all flip-flopped. Go ahead and move on to the next clip. I know there's a lot going on here. I don't know which one is Kristin Cavallari, whether they are in the back or the front. But either way, we got their gait. So-called woman in the front, knees are meeting. We got the space right in between their gait cycle. So-called female in the back. Follow those blue lines. This is a railroad track walker. This is not crisscrossing. As far as the children, we must understand at this age they are victims. Not their fault. It's the parents' fault. At the so-called little boy in the front with the black shirt, the knees are not meeting, they are separating, and there is no space in between their feet. Little so-called girl, railroad track walking, straight legs, space in between, and then the so-called little boy in the back, tightrope walking, one foot slightly going in front of the other one. Ladies and gentlemen, are we starting to see how deep this inversion thing really goes? How these children's gait cycles aren't lining up to their actual gender? Take a look at both of the so-called little boys. That red mark that is moving is indicating how their knees are separating from one another. Then you look at the so-called little girl, that multicolored rainbow line is indicating how their knees meet and stay together. All of this is flip-flopped, and the so-called mother, Kristin Cavallari, who's not their actual mother because this is a biological male, they can't have birth, is walking just like a male, straight legs, space in between their gait cycle. This person, Kristin, wants to say how their children are the biggest part of their life. Really? Let's look at the next one. Let's start from left to right with the little son. Again, knees are separating from one another. They hardly have a space in between their feet. Look at the so-called daughter. The knees are together. Large space in between their feet. Go ahead and look at their face. They display a large triangle. This is a little boy, no doubt about it. Then you look at Kristin, large space in between their gait cycle. They're trying to fake their gait with their fake little heel to toe crisscross walk, but I ain't buying it. So when these parents are raising these children, they raise them as opposite genders. For example, I was born a boy. My parents raised me to do boy things, boy toys, boy clothes, boy everything. See, these inverted parents, they raise their boys to like girl things, girl toys, girl colors, participate in girl activities. They become the things that they are consistently active with. Even though they are born a boy, their parents lie to them and make them believe that they were always meant to be a girl. These people despise God's creation, so they do the opposite. Kristin Cavallari with the straight, long male legs. Where is that arch in between their legs? Why aren't their knees bowing outwards? Where's that diamond? It's not there. Go out in public, watch biological women walking down the street. Their knees will not meet together like this. Their knees always separate. Next photo of Kristin Cavallari. Once again, the legs are separated where the knees meet. This is a railroad track walker, biological male. Where is the crisscross applesauce, where one foot slightly goes in front of the other one? It's not there. Take a look at this next photo. Kristin Cavallari with the so-called boyfriend or husband. Notice the difference in the opening between their legs. See, when females walk, their knees bow outwards. Their pelvic region is much wider versus a male. That being said, they get a much wider opening in between their legs that looks like the shape of a diamond or crystal, whatever you want to call it. Males don't get that because they don't have that wide pelvic region, and their legs remain very straight. Also, while females walk, their knees rotate. So take a look at this leg. Look how the bottom of their heel shoots out in the direction of that arrow. See, there's a slight twist to that foot. Males don't get that. Again, their legs remain straight. Their knees don't rotate like that. Kristin Cavallari in the red dress. Once again, railroad track walking. Where is the one foot slightly going in front of the other one? There is no crisscross. The knees meet, and the individual in the black dress, that's a male. Railroad track walking, large space in between their gait cycle, knees meet, and look at that lovely straight clavicle bone. All straight upper body. Unbelievable. And when we go ahead and analyze Kristin Cavallari's clavicle, well, which one does it look like, guys? The male one or the female? You be the judge. Let's go over some video footage real quick. Look at this. Boom. Do you guys see any crisscrossing? the feet are separated, and once again, the knees stay together. Let's take a look at the next video. Look, they even get an opportunity to fake their gait, and boom, they're lazy with it. They don't even fake it. At the end of the day, they are a railroad track walker. Space in between their feet. You cannot escape God's signature. Boom, knees meet, and knees meet once again. Take a look at both examples to your left and right. I want you to get a good visualization how a biological male and female walk down the stairs. You guys can apply this to wherever you go in public. See, if this was a biological female, then their knees would be shooting outwards like the example you see right there on the right. Go ahead and resume the video. Are you guys seeing this? This is unbelievable. Let me pause it again. This will be the last one. Now we have a pretty solid case. During your analysis, which example did Kristin Cavallari match best to? You be the judge. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Case closed. Kristin Cavallari is a biological male according to our skull and gait analysis that God gave to us. Thank you so much for watching, being here, all the support and encouragement. I really do appreciate it. No fear of any man. Jesus is always with us. He is our ultimate protection. I'll see you on the next one, guys. All right. God bless.